And welcome back to Subculture on a Sunday morning. We have a guest lined up right now that I am very, very excited to talk about because he doesn't know, but he is one of the reasons why I got into comedy in the first place because of a little show that he used to do called the Ronnie Johns Half Hour. I'm talking of Heath Franklin, who is back at this year's Melbourne International Comedy Festival with his brand new show called Out of Character. So to tell us a little bit more about this show, welcome to the program, Heath.
Yeah, g'day, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Now, mate, I am so excited to talk to you. Like I just said, you are one of the reasons why I got into comedy in the first place as well. So it's an honor having you on the show. And I've got to ask, tell us a little bit about this show this time around because it's something that your fans are probably not going to expect.
Yeah, well, it's the first show I've done as Heath at the Chopper. So, yeah, it's kind of exciting in that regard. But, yeah, it's been fantastic so far. But it's just, it's just an hour's worth of really solid jokes. Just everything that's funny like I make it, which has been cool.
So what made you decide to put Chopper in the wardrobe for a little while and to come out and do a show as Heath? Was there something out there that was kind of making you really want to do that?
Well, I mean, part of it is that, I've been doing Chopper for almost 18 years now. So, I don't know, I guess like a lot of 18-year-olds, I just thought I'd take the year off and discover myself. But yeah, I just, there's obviously Chopper's great and you can do a lot of different things with the character, but it's also limiting in some regard. So yeah, it's nice. I've sort of been able to take off the mustache and the glasses and I've got, people can see my eyes and facial expressions and all that sort of stuff. And the other thing is that, I've been a dad for coming up on 12 years now, so you can't really talk about that stuff with Chopper. You can't be like, oh, it's a little miracle. So, yeah.
So, does that mean that you've approached this show differently? Like, how has things changed for you in the approach to doing the show?
Well, I mean, usually, if I've got an idea, it's got to kind of fit in Chopper's world or wheelhouse or attitude or whatever. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can't do. Chopper can't be vulnerable or self-deprecating or anything like that. He's got to be the hard man and he's got to lay down the law, whereas there's a lot more room for kind of nuance and little things like that when I'm doing comedy as me, which is good. And I have to admit, for the first while, I was trying to figure out what I do when I write jokes for me, but I kind of cracked it, and it's been great. It's some extra layers of weirdness and stuff in there, which is cool.
So being able to talk about things like being a dad in your everyday life, does that make the show feel a lot more personal for you as well?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's not one of those shows where I kind of bore out into my personality or philosophize about whatever it is or, examine my pain or anything like that. It's just a bunch of dumb jokes. But I guess there's always been a certain amount of honesty with Chopper, like this kind of side of me where, I see things that people get up to and I rant and get angry and all that kind of stuff. So that's definitely still part of me. But, yeah, I guess there's sort of the rest of the Heath Franklin spectrum is in play this time, which is cool.
Yeah. You said that you had to basically go away and work out, like, what kind of comedy that you wanted to do for this show. What can we expect now? Like, will you be someone like a Jerry Seinfeld that talks about things that are a little bit obscure but in everyday life, or will you be someone who talks more about what everyday life is like for you, Heath Franklin?
Well, yeah, I don't think it's too Jerry Seinfeld. But I guess it's kind of me, talking about suburban life, but trying to make it as weird and funny and interesting as possible. So it's about taking the mundane and making it bizarre and hyperbolic and all that kind of stuff.
Now, I've told this story on the show before, but when I first did my first stand-up night and my family realised that I was going to be talking about family, my mum pulled me aside and said there better not be any stories in there about me or else I'm going to disown you. Have your family and friends been a little bit nervous about this time around, seeing that the show is going to be more about you?
No, not really. I mean, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, And as I said, that one thing you can't do with Chopper is make fun of Chopper. You can't be self-deprecating. So, I guess, if anything, I'm kind of putting the burners on me more than anyone else. I'm not, I hate those comedians that are like, I don't like my wife. It's like, boo, well, just do something about it, you loser. So I'm not, I'm not throwing my family under the bus or anything like that. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the funny side of life, really.
Now, you picked up the Piece of Wood Award at the 2019 Melbourne International Comedy Festival. What did that mean to you, winning an award like that? And, of course, we went straight into a pandemic after that as well. So what did that award mean to you? And then how did you spend the pandemic?
Well, I mean, the award was fantastic because, you know, I have to admit, I don't really operate in any of the comedy scenes, you know. I don't really gig that much around Sydney. I've got, obviously, mates or comedians from everywhere. But, you know, I kind of operate outside the system. So to know that people have been paying attention and, like, you know, watching what I do and appreciating it, especially people in the industry who know, you know, yeah, it was great. And then, you know, I got to take that momentum into the pandemic. And watch it frost over for 3 years. But yeah, then once the pandemic hit, I just started making internet videos, basically.
Yep.
I was like, I'll try and upskill. So, you know, I learned how to do green screen and chroma key in my own house and edit videos and all that kind of thing. And, yeah, you know, a couple of them went around, people saw them, which was good.
Awesome. Now, we talked a little bit before about the fact that you did television for a number of years and you were involved with one of the shows that I absolutely loved when I was growing up. Is television something that you would like to get back into one day?
Yeah, I mean, I remember back when Ronnie John started, it was about when reality TV kicked off. And I thought, oh no, this is going to be trouble for, like, good quality television. And unfortunately, it's only got stronger and stronger, you know, like, it's kind of disconcerting for me to know that, you know, a bunch of morons in a house who all get married and then squabble over dinner is more popular than, you know, comedy that's been carefully crafted and made or whatever it is. So that's always a thing. But, yeah, it'd be great to do some sketch comedy again. Or just something good on telly instead of the same old nonsense.
Yeah, I was going to say that because we're seeing a little bit of sketch comedy coming back onto television now, but it's certainly not like the days it was when we had things like Full Frontal and The Late Show and, of course, Ronnie Johns. Can you ever see Australian television getting back to that kind of time when we had so many great sketch comedy shows on Australian television?
Yeah, but I think part of the problem is that everyone's trying to make Full Frontal or Fast Forward or The Late Show or whatever it is again.
Yep.
And you've got to be like, look, that shows were 30 years old, you know. You've got to move on from that. And so, you know, every 10 years or so, a network will be like, we're making Fast Forward again. You're like, don't make Fast Forward again. Make the new show for the first time, you know. Like, sketch comedy's evolved and everyone wants to keep making, like, sketch comedy as just the 90s still. And you're like, come on, learn.
Yep.
Not paying attention, you know. So, from what I've seen of that new show, We Interrupt This Broadcast, you know, they're having a crack at trying to spice it up. It's still got a little bit of residue of the old school that hopefully, you know, the network will let go of and, you know, let them spread their wings and get up to some actual funny.
Definitely. Well, for all of our listeners out there, if you want to head along and check out Heath at the Comedy Festival, his show is called Out of Character. It's on right now and it goes right through to the 23rd of April. It's on 7:50 and 6:50, so make sure you check your times of what night you're going along. And it's at the Victoria Hotel Boardroom. Heath, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. And to finish off, what would you like to say to anyone out there who's thinking about heading along to check out your show?
Just stop thinking about it. Just do it.
Exactly.
Just find yourself standing in line with tickets and like,
yeah.
When you stand on top of a diving board for too long, you chicken out. Just get in there.
Definitely.
I'll make you laugh for an hour, and if I don't, you can give me a dead leg.
My advice is to go along and check out this show as well. It's called Out of Character. It's running until the 23rd of April at the Comedy Festival. Go and grab your tickets right now at comedyfestival.com.au. Heath, thank you so much for taking the time to be on our show today, and I cannot wait to check out your show at the Comedy Festival.
Yeah, sweet. I can't wait to see you there. Thanks for having us.